Hey, I'm Kev. Welcome back to MotoGP 17 and the rider career as Patrick McDonald has started to fly on this Yamaha. We'll continue around the Bugatti Le Mans circuit in France. So here goes Patrick McDonald for his 2 qualifying laps on board these Yamaha, which has started to motor in the races especially. So around the circuit, the Americas, he looked unbeatable. And then the rest had some luck in the race, but still got a podium when all the other Yamahas struggled to get a top 5. What a fantastic result. And now he's right up there in the championship battle as this banker lap has started off horribly in the first sector. He reuse a bit. But it's incredible how close the championship is. I know it's only 4 rounds in, but we saw that until the final third of the season last year. So for McDonald, be hoping the same happens where riders are a bit inconsistent and take points of each other. So remain this close, and if he's just racking up the podiums, the top 5s, that's good enough to stay in the championship hunt. As in the second half of the season, he is pretty good, McDonald, so we'll see what will happen. We come to the end of this banker lap, and a very horrible one on board the Yamaha, which this circuit should suit. Should be the best bike around here. Shouldn't have issues with the tyres as well. So it goes out wide, uses all the curve, just sets a 31.8. Maybe needs another second between the 30s. You can definitely achieve that though. So that's already better. He's already hit the chicane here. As now we go under the famous Dunlop Bridge here at Le Mans. And then go right and still carry on and going left. And look at that, there's that second already in the first sector. Keep it in third, get a nice solid exit. Go into the left hander, hairpin. Very tricky on the exit here, as you can clip the grass like that. McDonald has lost half a second in that sector. So he's previous to that. What the hell? Didn't help that he kicked up the dirt there, but that's not half a second. He'll start previously as he goes a bit wide into the left. In case the speed through the right, and it's still around half a second quicker. As we go into the final sector, and Folger with 31.7 faster. And he's someone who we expect to be battling to go through, so Law's first lap is pretty decent. Wants to be a bit quicker on his second effort. As he heads towards the line, it's a 31.4. So apart from that first sector, he really did not hook that second lap up to McDonald, but he is still quickest by around a 10th ahead of Alicia Spargo. He nips through ahead of Folger by half a 10th of a second. Jack Miller in 4th, pretty good qualifying on Mark VDS machine with Baptista in 5th. But in 6th, Baz, the home hero, in 7th with Bradley Smith at the back. So what can Patrick McDonald do in qualifying 2? As here goes Patrick McDonald then for his 1 effort in qualifying 2. Hopefully you can hook it up in the first sector for the whole of the lap. Goes into the first chicane, deep, wide, struggling to get power down. This first sector is already horrible. It goes a bit wider into the right. It might have been this corner where he lost quite a lot of time exiting third again instead of second. So he goes wide again, favour the track limits. He goes into the left-hander. And that corner is also a bit more wide open. You think, oh, I've got to take it a bit tight being an hairpin, but you can actually take that apex a bit later as he drifts right in the first right. And exit through the second, struggling to let power down again. As he got half a lap to go here, and it is not looking like a good lap for McDonald. As he gets it into the left, a bit too much. Cost himself loads of speed, front lifts on the exit. As he really did hook up this right-hander though. Then into the left, use that camber to help get you towards that apex. And then the double right at the end of the lap. Bit like that double right in Jerez. As he gets our way, and it's a 31-4 again. As McDonald rounds out the top 10 ahead of Petrucci and Espargaro on the 4th row. Then we've got Zarco, the other home hero, in 9th alongside Lorenzo and Iannone. Quattro Pedrosa and Dovi on the 2nd row, but at the top is Vinales. I don't know what the frop is, as we are 37,000 seconds ahead of his teammate Rossi, with Marquez in 3rd. So can Patrick McDonald join his Yamaha chums at the top in the race? So we are looking at the grid. Dovi not once again very unhappy being in 4th, being the 0-4, as there is Blue still leading the 4th row. Let's look outside the top 10. You've got Folger leading the 5th row. Redding down in 16th. He's got a bit of a battle in the race. So do the KTMs at the back. As there's the Kenyan revving up the engine, right for the lights up here. And go out for this 7-lap race. That's a decent start. He's got ahead of Zarco. Looking to get past Lorenzo and Iannone into the first sweeping fast right-hander. As he goes elbow to elbow with Lorenzo. On clips Marquez. He's forced to run wide. McDonald, as he rejoins in 5th, as Marquez actually went down and all. Lorenzo McDonald clash again. As he was in a Ducati sandwich then. Oh, was that Dovi? That was Dovi. Look at it, just ahead of Lorenzo, and here comes McDonald trying to go down the inside of both of them. Lorenzo pushing McDonald right on the exit though, as he gets into the top 5. Despite that clash with Marquez. This is a decent start for the Yamaha as he sees his teammates in 1st and 2nd. And oh, here comes Dovi, is that? As he's got Pedrosa in front, Iannone ahead of Lorenzo, 4-8. And now Zarco backed in for 6th. Oh, McDonald very deep. Into the left, into the right. Here comes Iannone, here comes Zarco in 6th. Up into the top 5 now. In front of his home crowd. But McDonald denies their little bit of success for the time being. He goes around the outside of the Tech 3. And he's got Crutchlow in front. Pedrosa. The only one battling the 2 Yamahas at the front. He's got Vinales leading ahead of Rossi. McDonald up to 5th. So let's see what he can do on this lap then. Get rid of Crutchlow. And then he can chase down Pedrosa. He doesn't seem to perform all the way through a race. It's Dovi down. As McDonald's just reading now. Just showing off. He hooks up the right hand and tries to get on the power. Again, with these hard tyres, going to take some time to warm up, bed in. He short shifts up to 3rd this time. That seems to be much better for this back straight, heading into the double right. So he's keeping on the tail Crutcher at the moment, not close enough to make a move just yet. As Dovi up to 6th ahead of Zarco. You got it, Ducati's having a heck of a battle behind with Zarco and Iannone. There goes McDonald. Too far back to make the move on Crutchlow, but he's right in the tail now of the Englishman. Goes into the right hand, dives. Down the inside of the Honda. He's got the inside line for the left hand, even though he goes slightly wide. And Crutchlow's pushing him wide. McDonald makes the move up into 4th. Oh, does he? He runs wide in the penultimate right-hander. It's the apex of the final, right? But he is up to 4th now, ahead of Crutchlow. As Vinales just pulling away from Rossi, and Rossi's pulling away from Pedrosa. So let's see what McDonald can do into the first chicane. Here comes Crutchlow back at him. But McDonald holds on just. Slight lift over that ridge now. Doesn't want the front lifting. As he tries to occupy this apex, but Crutchlow just forces his way by. Then McDonald forces his way by into the left. Deep way too late though. He is really struggling with these hard tyres once again. Yamaha does not like the hard tyres, but these are the tyres we need to run to have any tyre left at the end of races. And sometimes it doesn't even work, like in Argentina, so bike is sliding all over, but he's got decent pace, otherwise we won't be clinging on to the top 5 or battling for 4th. He's right in the back of Crutchlow, and now Dobby's just pushed him wide again. Dobby's really got it out for McDonald this race. Sort of holds off the Ducati. So that prevented him having a run at Crutchlow. You can see it's just these little things sometimes which can unravel a race. Look, if he got past Crutchlow now, he might not be held up on the next lap, and then that cost him time catching the top 3, but we will see as he's got a superb run. And then into the fast right. Too wide though. Bike had no grip. What the hell happened there? As now he's behind Petrucci. Or was. He's down to 7th though. As he runs wide, it's actually Redding in 8th. Redding from 16th on the grid. As once again, look at this. Yamaha out of control. Need to get to the part of the season where tyre wear is not as massive an issue. Because this Yamaha is horrible in these hard tyres. I just need to get away from Yamaha. As we've got Petrucci ahead of Ian only for 9th. As Redding almost into the back of McDonald. We've got Zarco in front in 7th. As Petrucci ahead of Redding. Now Ian can't keep up on what's happening behind. As we're halfway through this race. McDonald having to battle not just other riders but himself and his bike for this whole race. Let's see if we can get into a rhythm now. In the second half of this race, tyres should be up to temperature. He shouldn't be battling as much. So he looks around the outside of Zarco. Gets us goodish run onto the start-finish straight. But once again, he's looking down the inside of a rider. Into the first right. And this time he tries to cut back in front of Zarco to make sure he doesn't take that tight line. And all that's done is made him go wide, and now the Frenchman stick in front. Messy once again from McDonald. He is all over the place this race. He should be fighting for a podium. Instead he's battling for top 5 as Rins down. And here's Suzuki from 19th. There's no doubt this Yamaha has the pace around this circuit. He needs to just unlock it and be calmer. There's McDonald. Let's see if we can do it this lap. Get past Zarco, and then he's got Ducatis in it, like in front. So you can at least get 4th. Still in this race, despite the fall, despite being all over the place. Just needs to be smoother. As he's less than half a second behind Zarco. Takes a little look into the right. Takes more than a look into the left. Forces his way by the Tech 3. Oh, and he's the factory rider. Let me through. God. On Zarco. As we go on to the penultimate lap of the race. 32 flat for McDonald. That's much better pace, Rice. Less than a second behind Dovi and a top 5. As he goes through the first couple of corners. Zarco trying to take back that position, but McDonald holds on through the right. Oh, and then Zarco gets into the back of McDonald. Yamaha will not be happy about that. He goes a bit wide into the right. But he holds on from Zarco. And now into the left. You can see tyre around halfway for front and rear. So tyre is not too much of an issue, but he needs Zarco to back off if he wants to drag himself and Zarco up to the Ducatis and battle for the top 5. As the gap is still around a second with a lap and a half to go. And this like Dovi's catching is that Crutchlow in front. It goes through the left, goes through the right. And the gap's actually increased slightly. It's all locking up under braking. And then through the left-hander. Definitely this sector where McDonald is quick and almost into the back of Dovi. Into the penultimate right. Now through the final right. Tries to get on the power smoothly. Doesn't really work. He sets a 31.7. As on the final lap. McDonald chasing that top 5. Right in the tail. Andrea Dovizioso, a rider who's had his issues with McDonald this race. And then McDonald just forces his way by in the first chicane. Up into 5th. Now is that Crutchlow in front? It is. Less than a second. So definitely doable for McDonald to get past Crutchlow as well. And then you can see Pedrosa just in front of Crutchlow. So if he didn't make that mistake, podium definitely possible. He shorts this up to 3rd, tries to get a smooth exit down this back straight. And then Crutchlow pulling away by a couple of tenths. But then those final couple of sectors, McDonald is very good as he go into the back straight. Half a lap to go. Tyre wear still looking alright. Around the corner to the tyre left. So we go into McDonald land now. But he's messed up that chicane. What have you done, McDonald? Should have been Kane's speed through the chicane, but didn't at all. And then now he's outbraked himself into the right, into the left. He's not close enough to make the move on Crutchlow when he should have been. Not a poor mistake from McDonald. There's been this Rins. Rossi in 2nd. Joseph 3rd. Crutchlow 4th. McDonald 5th. It's a good result, but it should have been so much better. Once again, mistakes have let him down. As he was 8.2 seconds behind his teammate Vinales, who won by a 1.5 seconds. Pedrosa, very good result from the Spaniard. In 3rd, with Dovi rounding up the top 6 ahead of Zarco, then Petrucci ahead of Reddin, Iannone. Lorenzo down in 11th. Marquez recovered to 12th. Batista, Espargo, Hector Barbara scoring the final point. Baz down in 18th. What you doing, Baz? With Paul Espargo at the back. So in the championship, Vinales leads by 12 points ahead of Rossi. He's up to 2nd ahead of Dovi by 6 points. With Marquez down to 4th, 22 points back and 3 points ahead of McDonald. Then there's a bit of a gap to 6th with Pedrosa up to 6th now after that podium with Petrucci in 7th, Lorenzo down to 8th, Zarco down to 9th, and Crutchlow rounding out the top 10 as you got Scott Reddin up to 11th ahead of Iannone and Batista up to 13th with 13 points ahead of Alicia Espargaro as he's still got 19 rises score points so far this season. As in constructors standings, Yamaha lead by 33 points and of Honda with Ducati in 3rd, 12 points back. Then we've got Suzuki in 4th, pre-owned 5th, KTM at the back. And then in the team's rankings, 123 point lead for Yamaha over Ducati, got over double the points of the Italian constructor. Then we got Honda in 3rd, just 2 points back. Then Pramac Ducati in 4th ahead of Tech 3 by 20 points. Then LCR up to 6th ahead of Suzuki. Aspar up to 8th ahead of Cassini. And Avinto up to 10th ahead of Mark VDS. So not the race, but kind of the result that McDonald wanted from Le Mans. Let's see if he can do much better around the fast Mugello circuit in Italy. So here goes Patrick McDonald for his 2 efforts here on this undulating and flowing circuit. Not sure if the Yamaha will be top dog around here, but it's definitely Yamaha land with Rossi, of course, on board one of the bikes. And Vinales looking very good in the championship lead. McDonald, once again, getting the top 5. It's solid points, but should have been a podium. Could have been right in the tail of Rossi at the end if he didn't lose the 5 or 6 seconds that he did from that crash. Can't afford mistakes at this level. Done it, demonstrating it once again in France. As that's 2 races out of 5, which have been mistake-free, actually been good. And he got podiums and a win, so demonstrates he's definitely got the pace, McDonald, if he can just keep it mistake-free. And around this circuit, it's been pretty decent in the past, so hopefully this can be a good one. Let's go into the right. That's not a good chicane. No, he's trying to get on the power again. Rear gets out from under him. And then braking downhill. Old bike gets away. So this is another horrible banker lap for McDonald. He's got one lap to perform to get through to qualifying 2. This he definitely want to be in the pack heading towards that first corner. As he goes wide again into the last corner. What is McDonald doing? This is not the way to build up the speed and set up for the second lap. Just now he's going to be cleaning the muck of that tyres, heading towards the first corner. As he reaches over 200 miles per hour, 52 flat. We know that is horrible that time. So he goes towards the first corner, braking way too early as well. So he's lost himself around half a second there just in that first corner. Being very cautious. And then into the left as well. Oh, he's just waiting for his tyres to be clean, as you can see just so in his previous effort. And now that times he has to aim for 47.7 from the bat. Not normally chasing a Q2 slot, so he needs to be second, 2 seconds faster than that time, so a 45. He slides to the rear. And look at that, costing so much time. And he's attempts slower than Rabat. It's not working in Mugello qualifying for McDonald as Baptista sets a 47.1. He's got to gun it like a hell in the second half of this lap. As he hooks up the left and right, gets hard on the power now going downhill. Braking a bit earlier. And hooking up that apex. But it's such a long corner, you've got to be so patient on the throttle. McDonald wasn't. And he's still slower than Baptista. He runs very wide. Through the chicane. Not that's where he expects him to gain time. This time he's lost it. As he goes through the final corner. Gets hard on the power. As he goes up against Ducati Power and Baptista, as this is not a good lap. Rubbish lap, 47. And McDonald is out in qualifying 1. What a dreadful session for the Yamaha rider. Down in 7th behind Baz, Baptista, Miller, Redding, and Jonas Folger makes it through. Half a second faster than McDonald with Spargo to make it through. And here's Aprilia with Bradley Smith at the back. So what can the Yamaha rider do? Batting his way through the field in the race. As we look at the grid with Rossi, Vinales and Petrucci on the front row ahead of Duffy. He's very happy to be alongside the Hondas. We've got Crutcher, only Lorenzo, Zarco, Volga and Espargo. It's a massive bowl up on the warm-up lap. Hope that doesn't happen to the first corner. 4 Blue still down in 17th. As he revs up the engine, wait for the lights to appear. And go out for this 6-hour race. What a start ahead of Baptista, ahead of the Mark VDS machine, ahead of Redding towards the first corner. He's looking for a top 10. As he is alongside the Tech 3s. This is that Redding trying to dive down the inside. He's pushed McDonald wide and just been very slow in the middle of the corner. That's not very good. So he goes McDonald looking for a top 10 alongside his Spargo. Looking down the inside of Marquez, he just blocks him. Mark very unhappy from the previous race, I'm guessing. As he's round out the top 10. And all up to 9th now, behind Iannone as Dovi leads ahead of Rossi. And Petrucci up to 2nd. It's the Italian 1, 2, 3, but not in the order you would expect as Redding's down from 17th for the Premac man. McDonald's chasing down Iannone, Suzuki. Where you going, McDonald? Very wide. And now he's being pushed wide by the Tech 3. Got to hold it round the outside. As he tries to nip down the inside of Marquez into the hairpin, into the chicane. As he's got Folger trying to butt in into his battle with Marquez. As he go into the right-hander. Got to be so patient on the throttle. And then nailed it. That was actually Zarco. But that makes more sense then. That he's trying to butt it into that battle. He's got Volga ahead. With Spargo for 11th. Now McDonald trying to chase down Iannone. This model also has medium front tyre on and hard rears, so going for the softer option on the front. Hopefully that will work a bit better than the hards did in the last race. So you've got Dovi in the lead, ahead of Rossi and Petrucci. This model brakes for the first corner. Here comes Marquez with a massive dive down the inside. McDonald gets him back though, as you've got Rossi ahead of Petrucci. You've got Sarko ahead of Volga. The Tech 3s are going to war for 11th. So he goes trying to catch up to Iannone, but he's just battling with Marquez all the time. Just needs a clean lap. And this second lap, then he can start making moves up the order. Like this one on Iannone, down the inside of Suzuki, into the left. Up into 8th. Good move from McDonald. He tries to get towards the apex of that right-hander. Into the next right. Bit wide on the exit again, kicking up the gravel. But he holds on just about, as look at that battle for 5th in front. And you've got Vinales a bit back in 4th. Behind the top 3. So you've got Pedrosa, Crutchlow and Lorenzo in front. Pedrosa having another good race ahead of Marquez. You go through the fast chicane. 7/10 down on Crutchlow. Oh, and wide from McDonald. Braked where he did the previous lap, but no grip this time. And now he's right in the tail of Marquez. At least he's getting slipstream off the Honda, but all that work to get past the Iannone, and he messes up in the final corner. So now he's battling for 9th again with Marquez. He dives down the inside. But there's no apex speed, so McDonald can take him back. He's got Crutchlow ahead of Lorenzo. Here's McDonald diving down the inside of Iannone, not quite working though. It's on this third lap. He's just been held up here in the midfield. Oh, now Marquez pushes him wide. Marquez really does not like McDonald. It's McDonald almost into the back of Marquez's back. We go through the left. And these are the pair who are battling for 4th in the championship at the moment. So all over that curve. Somehow the bike stays upright. Gets into the right, into the left. Tries to get early on the floor, but again, just not liking it. The hard rears. As he goes into the right-hander. Got Marquez very wide. Sword tries to accelerate away through the fast chicane. This is where he can gain time. And maybe set up a run into the final corner. Down the inside of Marquez. Gets down the inside the Spaniard. Now for Iannone. Gets hard on the pad. Tries to get the slipstream of the Suzuki riders. Head into the second half of this race. And McDonald, after a superb start, stuck in the lower reaches of the top 10. Again, superb slipstream of the Suzuki. And here comes Marquez again, diving out of nowhere and being extremely slow on the apex. This time McDonald can't sneak down the inside, but he can through the next left. Then into the right, down the inside of Iannone, as he gets forceful with the Italian. He's had enough time messing with Iannone and Marquez this race. He sees the top 5 getting away, and he wants to chase after it. He goes downhill through the right. And then through the left again, rear end getting out. His top 3, top 4 have just pulled away from the rest of the field. Get McDonald now pushing like a hell, and to say on this race the tyres should be working, especially that front. That's all, he goes a bit wide in the left, in the right. And just as he thought he cleared this pair, now they get back past him. He's in a nightmare. McDonald. He goes through this long right-hander. Accelerates away past Marquez. And then through the chicane, he's 1.2 seconds behind Crutchlow. You see Pedrosa and Lorenzo battling for a top 5. The old rivals, Spaniards from the time Lorenzo graduated to MotoGP almost a decade ago now, over a decade ago, around a decade ago. As now he's half a second behind Crutch heading into the first corner. No dive bomb from Marquez for once on this penultimate lap. Must have mean he done something right in that final sector, the previous lap. But you can see that rear tyre just spin up all the time. His tyre wears around half on front and rear. So you can afford to go with medium fronts. It just means the bike sometimes slides wide or feels like it's sliding wide. He's going to have to combat that. And he's combating Crutchlow down the inside of the LCR Honda. And muscles him out of 7th. If it's Temporado, he's gone wide in the right-hander. Almost into the back of Crutchlow through the next right. He gets on the power hard. Then into the right up the chicane. Looking down the inside of Crutchlow into the left. Once again muscles out Crutchlow. Now you can see a top 5 right in front. As he goes into this long right-hander. Then hard on the power. And through the chicane, hard on the power. You can see that Yamaha sliding is Redding down from 23rd. What a horrible race for the Premac man, while his teammate is going to be celebrating the podium for Premac. Still goes very wide in that final couple. It needed to do that, keep the power down to try and get the slipstream heading on to the final lap. It's a 46.6 where Rossi set the fast lap 45.8. Around a second off the pace, McDonald here. But you can see Pedrosa, Lorenzo and McDonald, 3 champions all in a row battling for the top 5 here. And Mugello on this final lap. He gets down the inside of Ducati, does he? Lorenzo not wanting to give it up though. Well, McDonald almost into the back of Pedrosa. As Rossi takes the lead from Dovi. And McDonald's probably cost himself a top 5 with that stupid move on Pedrosa. Now the bike's sliding everywhere. Tyres are really heated. And look at that, around a second back now. Even though he's 4/10 head of Crutchlow, and look at that, all over the curves everywhere. He's just trying to get the power down, but the rear is sliding everywhere. Let's see, nice chicane. Hard on the power. He needs a good fast chicane, otherwise he's going to be sitting in 7th. As Lorenzo takes back 5th from Pedrosa. There we go. This is do or die time through the fast chicane. Needs a good exit all over the curbs, but that's good enough. He heads towards the final corner, trying to dive down the inside of Pedrosa. Tries to get hard on the power, but just can't get it with the wheel spin as Rossi wins. Oh, the chainsaws are going to be motoring after this race. And McDonald down in 7th. What a poor result. As it's Dovi in 2nd, Petrucci in 3rd, Vinales 4th. Then a bit of a gap to Lorenzo, Rossi and McDonald with Crutchlow in 8th. Marquez in 9th, Ian only 10th, Zarco 11th, Baz 12th, Rins 13th, Miller 14th. Rabat grabs the final point ahead of Baptista as Sam Lowe's at the back. So in the championship, Rossi takes back the championship lead from Vinales, even though they're level on points now. With Dovi 11 points back in 3rd, Marquez 28 points back in 4th, and just a single point ahead of McDonald, with Petrucci up to 6th ahead of Pedrosa by 6 points. Ian only up to 11th ahead of Redding, And we've got Baz up to 16th ahead of Miller and Rins, with Tito about for his first point of the season up to 20th. There are Sam Lowe's, Bradley Smith, Gary Abram and Paul Espargaro. As in the constructors' stand is a 48-point lead for Yamaha over Honda, with Ducati just 2 points further back. Then we've got Suzuki in 4th, Aprilia 5th and KTM at the bottom. Then Yamaha team lead the team's rankings by 139 points, with Ducati 16 points ahead of Honda. You've got Pramac in 4th, Tech 3 5th, LCR 6th, Suzuki in the 7th, Aspar 8th ahead of Grassini by a single point, of Inter in 10th on 10 points, a couple points ahead of Mark VDS. And now it's decision time for McDonald. Does he stick with the Yamaha? Pretty unlikely, as that Yamaha is not good with the hard tyres, which you need to use to make sure we have tyres at the end of races. So we're going to move on from Yamaha, but where will McDonald go? It'll be Honda, Ducati, Suzuki. I think it will be another blue machine. It will be the Suzuki alongside Iannone and Rins. And we will see how McDonald does on his new machine round the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the second visit to Spain and the TT Circuit Assen in the Netherlands. Can Patrick McDonald get back on course with some podiums and close that gap up to his ex-teammates at the top? Find out next time. South watching, I'll see you then.